And when I saw this movie, I felt people don't make movies like this anymore. I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to write it and to make it, and in your case, afterwards, to be in it?
Well, part of it's just what you said. You know, this was a fondness and this was a love letter to a era of filmmaking and a kind of filmmaking that I really love and full of filmmakers I admire, and you know, I wanted to emulate with this, and I wanted to make an epic drama period gangster story, you know, in the way that it used to be more common. You know, nowadays, big Hollywood blockbusters are just, you know, superhero movies. But, you know, there was a time when this kind of movie would be what a blockbuster would be, a big, you know, appealing to everybody, transporting you to another world, you know, showing you things you hadn't seen. And that was the goal with this. And I got really lucky. I got all these great actors and great technicians to help me make this movie.
And for you, Chris, what was it about it that you said, well, I really want to be in this?
Well, like Ben said, they don't make films like this anymore, and the idea to be in a film like this, directed by Ben, getting to act along with him and the rest of this cast was, I mean, it's really a no-brainer.
Let's start talking about your characters. What a great character, Joe Coughlin. He's a complex character. What kind of a man is he?
Well, the thing is, he wants to live by his own set of rules, but he still wants to be a good man. He wants to believe on some level that he's a good person. But, you know, sometimes those things come at odds with one another. And, you know, his own ambition and his own refusal to accept limitations you know, costs him ultimately in the end.
And his friend, Dion Bartolo, is his friend and his collaborator, and they have a special relationship, right?
Yeah, there's a love there. There's a brotherhood. I think Dion really represents, or one of the characters that represents the knight of the film. He is committed to being a gangster, loves being a gangster, and will die being a gangster.
This is an action drama period piece, but it has some powerful love stories in it. Congratulations for that, Ben.
Thanks.
I'm going to talk about the two really main love stories that your characters involved. It's starting with Emma. Clearly they're not right for each other, but sometimes living dangerously or that kind of forbidden love, there's something special and alluring about that too,
yeah,
right?
I think that she's meant to represent in some ways, I think, that kind of toxic but intoxicating, chaotic, head over heels, you know, devil-may-care relationship that people get in and, you know, cause each other all kinds of damage, but there's some magnetic power that binds them together, and it's kind of fascinating to watch. Whereas, you know, Zoe's represented more adult love, a more thoughtful, mature love, where they sort of recognize that they need to make sacrifices for each other and accommodate one another, and it's, you know, it's when he becomes a man, really.
Congratulations, by the way, as an actor, for playing those two different love stories with two very different women. And by the way, two extraordinary actresses. What can you say about Sienna and about Zoe?
You know, both of the lead actresses are just amazing. I mean, Sienna is I feel like she can do anything. I've seen her do such a wide range of stuff, and it's forgive me, she always feels real. She just never feels like you know, she's ginning up some performance for you. And Zoe's the same thing. Zoe kind of emanates a kind of a goodness, a delicateness that is feminine but really strong as well, and it just makes her acting so interesting to watch. And she also is doesn't push ever. You know, she just does exactly what's needed to be done. They're both phenomenal.
And the era is almost another character in the movie. That roaring 20s, that jazz era. What was it like to recreate and be in it?
It was fabulous fun. I mean, we got to come to work and put on these clothes every day and work on these sets that were, you know, decked out like this. And he had to learn how to drive the old cars, which was a lot harder than it looked, especially because those things, half of them are like, the transmission, you know, is like imaginary.
Yeah, it was terrible. Terrible. But you kept telling me, just don't worry about it. I'd grind the gears and you'd be like, don't worry, just keep going. And the gears would... But, yeah, it was great. The team was amazing, so specific. So it was like you just walked into the 20s with the clothes and the set design, and it was so specific.
And the transmissions.
The transmissions. Yeah.
Following up on what you're saying, I mean, I think we have to mention at least what Jez Goncho's job in the sets design, where the attention to detail, Ben, I believe, was astonishing, right?
I thought it was, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
absolutely, yeah. It was. I think I heard Sienna say, and I agree with her. You'd open up a drawer and you'd pull something out, and it would be a pen or a clip or I had money clips. Everything was from the period. I had my boxer shorts were from the period.
Yeah, we had a group of people that were really committed to maintaining the integrity of the reality of the period, and it was so much fun.
Following up on what you were saying before, the morals that your character has, he has no problem in maybe murdering certain people, but then he comes confronted with this girl who really is in his way. But there he stops himself. I thought that was another very interesting relationship, the one you have with Loretta characters, and I thought Elle Fanning was also brilliant in that role.
Yeah, Elle was really good, and she's she's like a prodigy. She's just such a great actress, and she's at this age where she's. One second you look at her and she's like still looks like a child, and then she looks like a young woman, and she's right on the cusp of a kind of just this special point in aging where you kind of there's a little bit of a feeling of lost innocence essentially, and that's what she represented to him. Innocence lost, and he didn't want to hurt her any more than she had been hurt, and he felt complicit in what she'd already gone to trauma she'd already gone through. And he, even though he didn't do it, but he exploited her trauma essentially for his own gain. And I think that was where he steps over the line into doing the unforgivable.
And also another great actor there as her father, Chris Cooper. That's not an easy role, and I thought he brought a lot to it.
Cooper is amazing. He's a real actor's actor. He's so hardworking. He's so authentic. He shows up, and he's great.
Coming back to something you said at the beginning and how you thought of classic mobster movies from the 40s, I also thought of a film called Out of the Past, the Jack Tornado film from 47, where it talks about also how it's kind of hard to get rid of your past even if you try. That is also in this movie, right? Yeah,
there's a theme in, I think it's Magnolia, which I love Paul Thomas Anderson. We're done with the past, but the past isn't done with us. And that truism is really, really interesting to me, and part of what was interesting about this book was that the idea that the part of your past is part of your present, it's part of your life now. All those choices that you made, all the things that you've done are the sum total of who you are today.
Just mentioning the book to wrap it up, this is your second adaptation of a Dennis Lehane novel. What is it about him, the way he writes, that connects with you so well?
I think lucky that I got to do two of his books. He's attracted magnificent talents. Clint Eastwood, Martin Scorsese have both adapted his work, and he does wonderful cinematic, punchy, fun, sexy, cool writings, but that fits really well into this genre.
Did you get to read it also, Chris, to help you prepare the role?
Yeah, I read the book several times, and that was really helpful. And then he did such a great job adapting it. I put the book aside, and that was my Bible, the script.